Hey everyone, thank you for coming back. Welcome to my channel. This is Made It to Medicine with Vix. That's me. And today we'll be discussing all things of a post-baccalaureate program, why I decided or why I ultimately had to do the program, and things that you'll gain from being in a post-bac, whether it is a traditional or a DIY, do-it-yourself post-bac program. So let's go. So I graduated from college back in 2013. After my freshman year, I already knew I needed to complete a post-baccalaureate program. Did I know what a post-bac was back then? Absolutely not. But I had a phenomenal advisor who was not my designated academic advisor. Go back to episode 1 if you want to know why I couldn't trust my true advisor. But she was telling me that the way my GPA was heading that direction, that medical schools would not look at me seriously. And it wasn't to be negative about my situation, but she was being honest. I had gotten C's throughout chemistry my first year. So she encouraged me to seek a major that I truly enjoyed and maybe a non-traditional major, and then come back to the pre-med prerequisites after I graduated. Took her advice, great, and that's what I did. Senior year, I decided to apply to 4 post-bac programs, 2 in Chicago, because that's where I'm from, and 2 in Philadelphia, because from being from the Windy City, it's literally the best place ever, but it's a big city and it has a lot of attractions. And I knew that by me leaving home, I needed to go somewhere where I'd be comfortable, kind of still in my zone away from home. And Philly's a big city. They had a football and basketball team. I'm an avid sports fan. Those are things, social outlets that I knew I needed to maintain that sense of balance, right? But I wanted to sit for a post-baccalaureate program to create a foundation for sciences, not even to strengthen. I didn't have one, as I only completed chemistry. So I completed all of the courses at Drexel with A's and B's until I got to biology. I got a C-. So I was like, okay, we're gonna just go back home to Chicago and continue these biology courses there. And then from there, I did well, but then I needed more assistance as my MCAT score was telling me, this ain't it, sis. You have not mastered these concepts just yet. Cool, fine and dandy. That's when I then applied to Med Prep at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, so down south of Illinois, so south that it doesn't even feel like Illinois anymore, because if you're from the Midwest, you know Chicago is the only city in the Midwest. What am I doing here? Okay, cool. It was a phenomenal program. I felt like I had so much support and I grew so much. And now I have a group of sisters who are also in medicine or going to be entering the medical field who I can lean on and who truly understand what I'm going through, you know, not just that blind support of family and friends who trust me and they're rooting for me, but they don't really understand what I'm going through. So now I have created this network of a true sisterhood, a natural bond of people who could not get rid of me if they wanted to. So at SIU, the purpose of this program was to not just create my foundation, but to strengthen it, teach me how to study, how to organize my notes, and time management. These are all things that I didn't really know how to do. I thought that by graduating from a top school in the country from undergrad, and you know, I skated on by and I got a 3.0, I believe-ish, when I graduated. I thought I figured it out, but I never truly learned how to study. I was exposed to making Quizlets or Anki and even concept maps. And that for me is what really worked. It takes a lot of time, but when you take the time to construct these concept maps and you put everything on the paper that you need to know in the exam, but putting it in your own words and making it short phrases is something that really sticks in my mind. And then talking to a teddy bear, talking to the wall, talking to my mother about various science topics. These are skills that I didn't necessarily do initially because I'm like, you know, I've been smart my whole life. I studied the night before. I get A's. Yeah, that's a joke. Honey, you haven't been challenged your whole life. It's not like To me, it's not that people are just smart per se, but they truly know the rules to the game. They're hardworking and they understand how to navigate academic spaces. So at Med Prep, that's what I was learning. I was learning how to navigate myself in the classroom and learning who or what my learning style was in order to work with people who had opposite learning styles so that our varying perspectives could fill in the holes or the gaps in our knowledge so that we'd all excel on the exams. Yeah, boom. That's why Med Prep was amazing for me. But while at Med Prep, I experienced a lot of family drama, or I won't necessarily call it drama, but we had a family crisis. And I felt like at that time I should have taken a step back from my pre-med journey. But of course, I'm like the rest of you. I make a plan. I want to stick to this plan no matter what. Nothing is going to deter me from my plan, right? Wrong. Like, medical school isn't going anywhere. Trying to rush the process, it makes the process even longer when I could have just taken time to deal with my mental health. But, you know, I had to learn the hard way, which is another reason why I made this channel. Learn from my mistakes. Don't waste the money that I didn't have. Do things on your time. Let me correct that. Do things on God's time, because, you know, we have a funny concept of how things are supposed to go, and it's not always the right way. So after completing Med Prep and obtaining my Master of Public Health degree, I had applied to the pre-matriculation program at Rosalind Franklin. So hear me out. This program is something like you probably have never heard before. You take 2 classes, medical biochem and clinical molecular cell biology. It's a mouthful, I know. Clinical molecular cell bio. And you just have to get an A or a B in these classes. This is just 1 semester from September to December. You take these 2 classes, you get the A or the B, you interview for Chicago Medical School. Hopefully you do well on the interview, you get accepted. Great. And the cherry on top, they pay you to be here. It's a program for minorities interested in medicine to diversify the field and to diversify CMS. And so we get a stipend to be here. So for me, after blowing all of that money while at Drexel, because those were private loans, and I graduated with 0 debt. Yes, that still haunts me to this day, but it's okay because it's all a part of my journey, and I'm gonna let it go one day, not today, but one day I'm gonna let it go. But having to do this 3rd post-bac program at Rosalind Franklin, it wasn't that big of a deal to me just because it was free knowledge, and the stipends that they gave me, I got to use that to pay my rent, of which they subsidize. So essentially, they paying for my rent, they paying for my education. All I have to do is pass the classes, right? I took medical biochem in grad school. This is about to be a breeze. Passed that class. It was easy peasy. I took molecular bio in grad school, but it was an undergraduate level course. The courses here are all grad school level. It was in more detail, and I needed to truly stick to the way how I'd been studying in grad school. Kind of took a step back a little. I knew that working in groups really worked for me, even though I don't like working in groups. But what did I do when I came here? I stopped working in groups. I was working by myself. Failed that first exam, and I was like, okay, what we not about to do is play ourselves again. So let's, reach out to some classmates who are doing well in the courses. I started establishing a bond with them. We're doing our study groups once or twice a week. Cool. But then I start feeling away. I distance myself. Not cool, because who's suffering now? Me. What point am I trying to prove? Not one, because I didn't pass the class. And if you don't pass one of the classes, then you have to take medical neuroscience. Yeah, the brain, very complicated, complex organ. Without it, we don't live. Hard, really hard, okay? Really hard. But what this taught me was that if something is working, keep doing it, right? And if it's not working, don't do it again. as I'm about to start medical school in August, these are things I'm keeping up here because I cannot afford to keep making the same mistakes over and over again, especially since medical school, everybody tell you it's this fire hydrant of information that's about to be coming at you mad fast. I don't have time for that. So I'm using all of the tools, the skills, all of the resources that I have gained along the way from Post-Bacc of 2013 to 2021. We're not going to let those years be in vain. They happen. It's a part of my process. So why don't I just actually act like I learned something throughout that time? So the purpose of me completing a post-baccalaureate program was to fulfill the pre-med prerequisites, but to build a foundation in the sciences. And then after doing several post-bacc programs, to strengthen my confidence. Because after a while of constantly doing something and it felt like I was doing the same thing over and over and over again, my self-esteem got a little low. But when those grades start doing well and you get to be the star pupil in tutor groups because you've studied so hard, you're working so hard or so diligently that you are on your A game, that boosted my morale. I'm back confident. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I am smart out here, you know. Yeah, I work hard, but the work that I'm doing is paying off. So this is why I did a post-bacc program. Some other people do it to increase their GPA if they had a low GPA in undergrad, or they'll also enroll in a master's program to strengthen that GPA. But on that note, if you really need to improve your GPA and you've already taken the prerequisites, don't retake those prerequisites unless you have like a C or lower in those classes. Just go out and enroll in a master's program. But here's the secret that people don't tell you. So if you do a 2-year master's program, your second year, or even your first year, you can get an assistantship if you're completing the program at an institution that's not solely for people geared to getting into medicine. Because if it's just geared for getting into medical school or podiatry or pharmacy, dental, whatever the medical umbrella looks like for you, then the likelihood that there are a lot of assistantships available to you is not going to be possible. But when I was in grad school at SIU, as I got my Master of Public Health there, my first year, it was all federal loans. Yeah, I could have completed an assistantship, but I had to retake the MCAT, and I was not going to play myself again. Granted, I wound up having to take it one more time after that. Mind your business, because that's not what this is about right now. But my second year, I applied for an assistantship, and what that is, they pay for your tuition, and then they pay you. So it was a job of me studying on the job. Like, it was real simple. I was a supervisor of an undergrad student and I worked in an office, but I had the freedom to complete homework and study on the clock. So you want to do what's best for you financially, academically, mentally, and emotionally. Just make sure that you are completely sound, and just, you know, think about you. At this point in your life, it is very important to be selfish. Like, this is your future, this is your journey, this is your path. It's all about you. And if people can't understand that it's about you right now, then I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to leave those people where they're at. Maybe they could pick back up along the journey in the future, but right now you can't worry about trying to appease anyone at all, because this is a very strategic and difficult field to enter, and you really want to give it your all. So listen, the reason why I created this platform is because I want you to be better than me. Don't be like me. Don't say that Vix is goals. No, she is not. Vix wants you to be better than her. Go to undergrad and go straight to medical school, or take that gap year, do that research, get those experiences in the clinic. But don't waste all this money and come out in deep debt before you start medical school, when now you have the tools. You have people in front of you telling you that that don't have to be. So yeah, these are the reasons why I completed the post-bacc program. Comment below to let me know, have you completed one, if you're thinking about completing one, and what are your thoughts and ideas about it. But until next time, folks, this is Made Into Medicine with Vix. Thanks for checking me out, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.